Hello, welcome to Raz's channel. This is a bit more of a different thing from what I normally talk about, but this is about buying and selling Levi's, genuine ones, on eBay and other sites like that. In particular, I'm going to deal with coloured Levi's and how to avoid the pitfalls of knockoffs, because there are lots out there. So just to give you an idea of my experience of this, back in the 1990s, I used to use my dad's tips from Milkman to buy Levi's from a genuine store on the island. He also had a chain of other stores along the coast, so I used to buy his soiled Levi's, and then I used to trade them on a stall once or twice a year, something like that. So I got used to buying and selling. I always used to buy some other genuine ones that used to come in that were second hand as well. So I got used to spotting what was genuine and what wasn't. Now the pitfalls are on eBay is there are many pitfalls on eBay and Etsy, particularly Etsy, sites like Depop, Spox, whatever it's called. Now particularly with Etsy, when people are asking like £140 for a pair of Levi's, you'd like to expect you're going to buy a genuine pair, but quite often they're not if they're coloured ones, so you've really got to be careful. And this is what this video is about. It's about making sure you buy well, making sure you ask the right questions of the seller, and if they're not giving the right answers or can't, don't buy them, because you're probably going to get a non-genuine pair turning up. It's okay if you're happy with the item you receive, that's up to you. If you want to pay £140 a pair of non-genuine jeans, that's up to you. At least places like eBay go some way to protect you. They will say when you list a pair of Levi's, are they genuine? Whereas other sites don't. They're asking you the question, are these genuinely genuine? Now the reason why this video is because going back in the 1990s, I went on holiday to Corfu, to a place called Sadari, which is a lovely village where the locals go. And in this village was a store that sold every colour of Levi's you could find. And it was literally loads, every colour, and they were all fake, all knockoff. 10 years later I go back, that shop's still there with the same product selling, so they're all out there. So it's something you've got to be aware of, is that was just one place. Now what happened was, in the 1990s, Levi's marketed the Levi's colour range. There was a TV ad with, I think it was Jennifer Love Hewitt in it, where she was wearing a pink pair and a black pair. The colours you could get were red, you could get forest green, electric blue, you could get pink, you could get a proper grey as opposed to the charcoal grey. There were quite a few colours in the range. I think there was even a yellow and a sort of like a peachy colour, but that was kind of the limit. There are a lot of colours out there that aren't genuine, so this video is about making sure you identify what's genuine. Now there was a chap selling on Depop called Mad Cow Vintage. There was a pair of jeans that I was interested in. I asked him what colour the internal stitching was, and he said the normal colour. And I went, well, no, the coloured ones need to have white internal stitching, and it's also represented down the inner seam as well. To which he replied, no, these are genuine. I'm like, no, they're not. And he said, no, it's not. They don't all have inner stitch. Yes, they do. The Levi's colour range, if they're genuine, they have internal colour stitching. I'm going to show you what it looks like. So, when you open your pair of Levi's, if you're buying a coloured pair, this is what you're looking for on the inside. The white stitching, all important on a coloured pair of Levi's. The other thing that people fail to mention as well is the PC9 label. Now what the PC9 label gives you is this number here. It also comes in other forms of number as well. You're looking for 501, and the last number, 4 digits, is a colour code. Now sometimes people cut these out because they annoy you or scratch you on the leg. So if you're buying a dead stock pair, this PC9 needs to be in there. If they're second hand or what we call vintage these days, used or worn, this may be missing, but you can always ask the seller, has it got a PC9? What's the colour code? What is the code? What is the model code? A few other things as well, all important. Lots of people talk about rivets and stuff like that. I've seen good quality fakes with good rivets on. One thing is the actual quality of the denim. It needs to be quite a soft denim. A lot of fake denims, the denim is coarser, almost like a canvas. So when you pick up a pair, if you're going to a thrift store or something like that, just feel the denim. Is it coarse? If it's coarse, I'd steer clear of them. This is something again that you'll have to ask the seller, can you send me an up-close picture? The other thing is the label, all important. To pass quality control, the stitching has to be in this red line. If it's not, they're not genuine. A lot of knockoffs, they're not even anywhere close. This number must be in black. I've seen fakes where this number is in red. This typeface must be this size and print. A lot of the time it's red to match this, or it's not this text at all. Some of these can come in 501's, which were the hipster cut for girls. So the Levi's colours were modelled in those as well. So that's something you have to be aware of. On the 90s Levi's, you're looking for this double stitch on the inside as well. So on the blue ones, you have the yellow, followed by the dark blue on the inside, as they were on the other blue ones. But again, you've got the white inner stitching. It's got to have it. Now, what will happen is on the green Levi's and the reds, these are different because these are blue, obviously, but the other colours, that stitching will be replicated as white on the inside, which we'll show you right here. So here is a genuine pair of forest green, and as you can see, the stitching, the double row stitching, is the white double, just like that. So that's how you spot a genuine pair. Should be white like that on the inside. If it's not, another thing I've seen on the coloured Levi's is that these are the wrong colour. The back pocket stitching remains that colour again, should be like that. Also beware of, on coloured Levi's, people over dye white ones and they can look the same. So when you're looking at the image, you might think, is that the right colour? Is that not? If this label is stained in any way, they've been over dyed, because they won't be out on the shops with a stained label like that. The other thing as well is when putting these on or selling them, especially with the greens and the blues, and also the reds, is that modern day cameras are so good with their accuracy that actually the camera's sort of looking beyond what you can see with your eye. So it can be difficult to pick up the actual colour, because the actual thread or waft or weave of the denim actually has white pigments in it. And that white pigment causes a problem in light, because the item that you're trying to take a picture of can appear lighter or darker depending on the light that you're taking in the picture of. So when you're posting pictures through your website or whatever, or when you're buying and you want to make sure that you've got the right item, ask for several other pictures in different lights, because it is possible that the light has changed. You need to have the best light really when taking pictures of these. What we're going to do later is demonstrate my lovely model Jane how you can represent this in normal natural light. Get outside. The reason why we're outside is because this best represents the way of getting a true colour of what you're actually going to be receiving, selling or buying. This is my glamorous model Jane, my other half, who puts up with me. So here's a pair of genuine red ones. If we can see here, oh, he's gone too far out. We have the coloured stitching come through there. If you look at what we've actually got, you can see the coloured stitching Obviously these aren't a new pair, they've been used, but again, look at the label. Got to have the right text. They're not over dyed with another colour. And on these we have the 2 colour stitching down here, but obviously on the inside hem it's white like that. So 2 colour on the outside, but white on the green ones. You might see double white on the inside. But like I say, just look at what we've actually got. Look at the quality of the denim. Look at the colour of the stitching. All important on coloured Levi's. Their reds and greens are probably the most faked out there, so you've got to be careful of checking the hue. The red ones should look like this. If you have any doubt of the colour, get them out in the light and have a look. Most important, absolutely important, you check these out. Also check the fit as well, because some of the stitching was changed, believe it or not. So you've got to keep an eye out. And here's the green ones. Again, Jane, my glamorous model, and suffering other half. Again, we're looking here for colours. Slightly faded, I think, from washes, but you can tell with the colour what we're looking at here. We're looking for the coloured stitching across there being white, or sort of, sometimes they can be orange. I have seen ones with the orange stitching on sometimes. The correct label again helps. And we're looking for the inside stitching to be that colour there, which is reflected as they have folded these back up as the white stitching as shown there. All important. And the greens are extremely faked for some reason, and people also over dye them. You can buy them dyed, so you've got to be careful what you're buying. If you want a genuine pair, you're probably better off just checking out. There's a particular site on Etsy, eBay, where they show lots of colour greens on them, so obviously they're dyeing lots. The other thing as well to spot is this little stitch here. It's quite important on a genuine pair, often omitted on non-genuine ones. Like I say, it's the colour you've got to look out for. When we're buying and selling, you're looking for the right colour, the right hue, which is very difficult when you're sat in your house. You've got shade, bright sunlight can be ineffective, as can a cloudy day, especially with green. When you're trying to take pictures of green ones, very difficult to get the right hue. So try and get some natural light outside, or in this case, get someone to model them for you so they look good. You're showing what they look like. You can't beat a decent pair of 501's. The thing is, if you're getting someone to model them, or you're modelling them yourself, definitely put the hands above the hip, because it's hiding the belt line and what it looks like. Hands in the pocket also make it like that, or in the back pocket, how some people do. Doesn't really give good representation of what you're selling. Because again, the cutter Levi's is also another thing which the dodgy people that were knocking them off didn't quite get right. They look nice when they're folded up, but when you actually put them on, you can tell it's a genuine pair or not. Okay, one thing as well is garment care, as it were. When folding the Levi's up, there's great care to be taken to keep them nice and in good condition. And that's all about folding. Make sure you do the buttons up. You fold them around like that. Give them a shake. Turn them upside down. Pull the hems out. You put the 2 inside hems together like that. Run the crease down to the back like that. Pull them out like that. Fold them over. Fold them over again, unless you put them on a hanger. And also it helps to keep the label down like that as well, and that's how you keep your Levi's nice. If you fold them the other way, you can put creases in which look a bit, sometimes, not very attractive sometimes, but that's how you fold them if you're going to put them away or if you're going to send them. Here's Jane again, my glamour assistant, this time my favourite colour. I like the green and the red, but for some reason this colour, this shade, is called electric blue. Nothing to do with the dodgy porn movies that were around at the time, it's just the shade. Obviously colour. love this colour, it's absolutely fantastic. I love the green and I love the red, but what we're looking for is the all-important hue of the blue, because there's a lot of overdyed ones out there that are not this. They look like this, and when you get them, they're not. I think I've bought at least 6 pairs that have been overdyed with this blue. It's kind of a primary blue, but again, what we're looking for is the genuine label, like that, with that colour, that type face. We're looking on the inside leg for this double coloured stitching, which when you turn it inside out, you get the double white, and that is reflected all the way inside. So I know it sounds really nerdy, but if you're buying a non-genuine pair, A, they're not going to last, the colour won't last as long, and they don't look as good, because for some reason they're just not built like genuine ones. So there you go, that's my favourite colour. I'm going to talk now a bit about seams. Right, now we're going to talk about inside seams. So on a 1990s to probably 2000s, or probably 1970s to 2000s, Levi's had the double stitch seam with the yellow and blue, as on the coloured ones on the outside, but obviously on the coloured ones the double white stitching was appeared here. You don't see the other colour, they're more visible. That's what I was trying to demonstrate on the coloured jeans, is that you see the white rather than the yellow and the blue, which is the double stitch on the inside. So this is how you would find most Levi's in the 70s to 2000s, and this was one easy way to check whether you had a genuine pair. But then Levi's did something else. When they started doing the LVC range and post 2000s, they started producing this seam, which was a single stitch. The trouble is, most of the non-genuine Levi's from the 1990s or 1980s to 1990s, 2000s had this type of seam. So this then caused a real problem with trying to identify what's genuine and what's not. The simplest way is age. The LVC ones have got these, which are normally the vintage ones, which recreated of the original Levi's, as opposed to these, which were the obviously original ones from sort of 70s to 2000s. But like I say, some of the ones, the knockoff ones, had this type of seam. From the 2000 sort of period, you'll find knockoff Levi's with this kind of seam, and they weren't genuine. I'd probably say 1990s actually you'd see this sort of seam. The other type of seam you would see are like these on knockoff ones. These are a pair of the Mexican ones, which obviously they're double orange, which weren't even anywhere near close. So people talk about selvage and stuff like that, if you're after your genuine Levi's, and particularly in rock and roll, people bang on about selvage. Yes, it's nice to have it, but the other thing is to make sure you've got a genuine pair. It's all about the seams. The seams. Have a good look when you're buying and selling. Ask the seller the question, what kind of seam has it got? Also check the label inside to see, you can date some of them by some of the labels. And check all the other things that we've mentioned: rear label, typeface, stitching around the red. One thing I will point out is on the LVC ones, the actual stitching on the back label is not in the red zone. It's actually like this, just on the outside. They changed the position. Obviously we're talking about the LVC range, not your bog standard Levi's that you would have found on the street from the 70s to the sort of 90s, so 2000s, sorry. So that's another thing to, obviously when you're doing the LVC, chance you find some knockoff LVC ones are very unlikely, but obviously that's just to show us a comparison. So we're looking for accurate stitching on the back label, which needs to be accurately on the red line. So thank you for watching. I hope we've educated you a little bit about buying and selling Levi's. Just hope buy safe, ask the questions. Just remember, ask. Has it got the information that you require? Labels, PC9s, Has it got the stitching? Buy safe, keep safe, don't buy something dodgy, not good. Bye, thanks for watching.